Good morning. Is that the best you can do? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. So, I have a question for you. How many of you want more peace in your life? Oh, so there's quite a few of you. Well, you might think about if you have habits in your life that are stopping you from having that peace. And we're going to talk about some of the habits that you might be doing that is stopping the peace from being what you desire. But first, I'm going to talk a little bit about what peace is. Peace is that all-encompassing joy and love and life. If you're a fisherman, hopefully you can understand this analogy. If you want to go fishing for most fish, you don't go to the rapids, because the rapids is where the water is turmoiling, and the fish are really just trying to live, trying to survive the moving water and everything till they can get to another place. What you want to do is you want to go to a calmer place, a place where fresh water is flowing, not stagnant, but calm, and because underneath that calm river is a multitude of life. The fish are feeding, they're breeding, they're swimming around, kind of enjoying life and having fun, and all sorts of other things are happening too. So what we want is that same thing. When we are in turmoil, when we are in constant chaos, we can't think. It shuts off our thinking. It's like we have blinders on, and all we can see is how to react. We don't really know how to initiate or anything at that point. We have to come to a calm place. We have to relax a little bit, be a little bit more at ease so that we can actually see the big picture and so that we can react and make a choice. We might not want to do, might not want to do our normal reaction like that. What we might want to do is be able to make a different choice than we would normally do if we just reacted. Now, I know during the fire, many of us probably just reacted at first. Oh my goodness, this fire's coming towards town, and we might all have to evacuate. And there were certainly people that had to react, like right now. They had to react. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, what that is. But that reaction can be very good in a case like that. But there were others of us that lived on this side of the river that didn't have to react quite so fast. And if you let fear take over and do that reaction, what happened? Those people got out into the road because they were trying to get away, immediately got out into the road, which stopped the people that had to leave immediately from going where they needed to go. So by making a choice, by calming down a little bit, you were able to maybe relax and go, okay, the fire's not that close yet. I'm going to keep watch, but I'm going to prepare. I'll get my important papers together, I'll get my clothes together, I'll pack the car, make sure that there might be any medicine that needs to be gathered, and that sort of thing, instead of just running. Now, what we don't understand is the ego was originally made as a tool. It was a tool to be put in our toolbox to help us survive. For instance, when that fire was right there for some people, they had to run. That's a survival of the tool of the ego. But many of us from generation and generation and generation created the ego as a master. We start thinking the ego is who we are, that it's our personality. Ego is not your personality. It is not who you are. You are a spiritual being. You have been created out of love, to give love and to receive love. You weren't created to live in fear. And that's what the ego inspires, is fear, because that's what keeps it going. So there are 7 habits or 6 habits that we commonly use to stay in this state of chaos and this fear. And the reason why we wouldn't go over them is until you see the habits that you are carrying, you can't change them. You have to see what you're doing, right? So the first habit is the habit of confronting or arguing. So are you in a habit of every time somebody says something, of arguing with them? Oh, that road we're going is really long. No, it isn't. It's only so many miles. Oh, whatever. It's that constant arguing keeps you in a state of turmoil. I'm having trouble keeping this on. Keeps you in a state of turmoil all the time to where you can't see. And that's what it's designed for. The ego doesn't want you to stop and see. It wants you to stay in that state. So confronting and arguing all the time helps keep you in that place. Another one is competing and comparing. When I was a young woman, I walked into a room and there were several really attractive women, and I started comparing myself to them. Oh, I'm short, I'm a little overweight, I'm young, I don't have the experience they have, and I was comparing. And then suddenly I had an inspiration. We were all created equal, and what I'm comparing to is not really them. I'm comparing to an ideal that I created falsely. Because from TV, from magazines, from people saying, oh, you should be this particular shape and have this type of hair and look this way. But I don't have to. I'm an individual. I am unique. I am special. I can look and be the way I want to be. And so that really helped me change that and quit comparing. And remember, we all have some of these habits and to certain extents. But what we want to figure out is which is our major one. Another habit is chasing and striving. Are you chasing and striving to be the very best? Have the best job? Try to work with that and show that you're the smartest, you're the best, you're you get all your work done, you create impossible limitations for yourself and deadlines and try to beat them and so that you can feel good about yourself, so you can feel that you're wanted, so that you feel that you're worthy. And that goes right into the next one, which is noticing me. And I have to admit, this is where I kind of, one of my major habits that I've run up against is I will say things like, you know what I did today? I did all this and I did all that, so that I'll be noticed, so that I'll be thought of as good or better. And that has its own problems. The second to the last one is more, better, different. How many people see something on TV and think, oh, I've got to have it? That's wonderful. That best new pillow that they have that's supposed to stay fluffy and it goes flat. I have one. It went flat. Or have to have the new car, or it has to be better than what your neighbor had. You have to have a nicer house. You got to put in the latest spa and this and that. And that just keeps you in a rat wheel that just keeps you in that trying to gain, trying to get, trying to have all that. The one with the most toys does not win. In fact, in the long range of things, the one with the most toys loses because it doesn't ever give you time to think, time to be with spirit, time to be who you need to be. The very last one is the one that I think can be the most damaging to ourselves and to other people, and that's gossip. Gossip. Because why do we gossip? We don't gossip about the good things. We don't say, oh, so-and-so just got a nice new house, and it's really, that isn't gossip. That might be sharing some information. But most people, when they gossip, they say, do you know what so-and-so did? My neighbor had to have her house repossessed because she just doesn't never take care of her money. I see her out spending all the time, and she's just careless in everything that she does. Maybe the gossip's about something else, but that gossip is damaging to ourselves, to our soul. And it's also damaging to the person that it is being gossiped about. And believe me, if you're doing that gossip, guess what happens? You get gossiped about. Turnabout's fair play. So we don't want to stay in that place because these are all really damaging to your sense of peace, to your ability to be in that place of peace. So the book, Your Sacred Self, which is where the titles are coming from, by Wayne Dyer, he says the ego is that false idea that we have created for ourselves. That's the false idea we've created. So if you think you have to be a perfectionist, is that a real idea? No. If you think you have to be better than somebody else, or you have to have more things or that, you're not going to take them with you. It's all going to drop away. It's not going to help you when you die, believe me. And so we want to gain that peace because that will be much more useful. Why do we keep these things? If ego is so damaging and creates so much problem, why do we keep it? Well, we keep it for the same reason that we keep anything that's familiar, that's warm and cuddly because we're used to it, and we've been raised with it. As a child, we start this ego personality, and everybody works with it and praises it or doesn't praise it, and you grow with it. So it's so familiar. It's like a piece of clothing that you love, or that blanket that you had as a child that you might even still have someplace tucked away, because there are those that keep their things from childhood. Also, in this, we like to resist change. Do you know that if you want to really become peaceful, you might have to change something in your life? You might have to let go of some of those habits. You might have to become more peaceful. You might have to become what you want. In other words, in order to be more peaceful, you have to be peaceful. There's a wonderful little book. It's Who Have We Come Here to Be? And it has 101 possibilities of contemplation. And I love it not only because it's got beautiful pictures in it all the way through, but it also has a whole bunch of ideas. So you can be peaceful, but you can be ingenious. You can be jealous, or zealous, not jealous. You can be loved. You can be honest. You can be disciplined. It has a whole lot of different things that you might want to look at. So who do you want to be? In order to really be peaceful, you have to be peace. You have to start incorporating it in your life. You have to set the intention, and this helps you with setting those intentions. You have to set the intention first thing in the morning so that when you get up, you know what you want to be that day. You know it, and you can start living it. And you can even use it as a mantra to help you get through it. Because many times saying a mantra over and over, it isn't a magic phrase that's going to keep you from going the opposite direction, but it helps distract your mind. How many of you remember the story about the demon in the pool? Anybody here? Oh, good. Well, once upon a time, there was a man, and his wife loved to give him to-do lists. I'm sure the men can understand that. You know, the roof needs fixing, the backyard needs cleaning, the lawn needs mowing, and on and on and on. And he was really tired of all these to-do lists because he never seemed to get done. So he went to the local shaman and he said, you know, I just can't seem to get these things done. Can you help me? And the shaman said, well, I could give you a demon. The only problem is if you don't keep the demon busy, it will eat you. Could be a problem. But he said, oh no, my wife comes up with more lists than you can believe. And so he took the demon home, and the demon started filling his wishes and the list. And he was busy writing a list, and the demon would fill it. Almost instantly, everything was done. And he was really worried because he couldn't keep writing fast enough hardly to keep this demon satisfied. And so he went back to the shaman and said, what am I going to do? And the shaman said, put a pole in the middle of your yard. And when you don't have anything for the demon to do, tell him to hit the pole. Go up and down, up and down, up and down. So that was the way he kept from being eaten by the demon. But your mind is just like that. Our minds are busy all the time. And in order to stop our minds from being quite so busy, to give us a little bit of peace and quiet, sometimes using a mantra really helps. And a mantra can be a set of words, it can be a single word, it can be a set of words, it can be part of a song, it can be anything that inspires you, so that when you come to that stop sign and you're sitting there waiting for the person who is very slowly walking across the street and taking forever, instead of criticizing that person for doing that, you can say your mantra, I'm at peace. I am peace. Peace surrounds me. And just keep saying that to yourself, and you're going to be much happier, believe me, than if you're sitting there criticizing that person or thinking, oh, I got to hurry. I got to get to that meeting. I got to hurry, and drive. So the mantra is the pull. The mantra allows you to keep your mind busy. And sometimes we really need to keep our mind busy from that place. Another thing that you can do to keep yourself in peace is ask yourself if what you did last time, how you reacted last time, did it work? Did you find yourself more peaceful or more chaotic? Did you find yourself wanting to reside there, or did you find yourself going to another problem real quick? Did it work? Did it work? Oftentimes, just asking ourselves that can help us learn to make choices that are beyond the immediate reaction that we have. I have to bring up what some people think of as a dirty word sometimes, and that's forgiveness. Now, you might think, oh, that's silly, but forgiveness can be really hard. Many people think that forgiveness is condoning whatever was happening. It's not condoning. What it is winning. The reason why forgiveness is winning is because when we don't forgive, we give it a lot of attention in our minds. We're constantly putting our minds back on that place of that so-and-so, they shouldn't have done that. You know, if only I had remembered to do this, then they would have done that. And your mind goes over it and over it and over it and over it. So who wins in a case like that? The other person doesn't care, right? I mean, the person who you were upset with usually just keeps doing what you were upset with. And they could care less whether you were okay or not. So forgiveness is for ourselves. It's a place where it's a gift we can give ourselves to let go of the energy that we're putting in there to that. So forgiveness is a way of being happy, being at peace with ourselves. And we can, well, the one person we need to forgive the most is ourselves. We need to forgive ourselves for being in the situation. We need to forgive ourselves for what we did say and what we didn't say. We need to forgive ourselves for being unforgiving. So there's a lot of reasons that, honestly, we need to forgive ourselves first. And almost always when we do that, you'll find things start easing a bit. But that helps bring you back to that peace. And along with that forgiveness, we need to stop judging. Stop judging those around us. And it can be real difficult at times, especially when you're watching TV and there's so much going on TV, and maybe you're with one group and you judge the other group, or you're judging just anything. It's devastating to you. That judgment puts you again in that place where you can't see anything beyond that judgment. It's kind of like arguing. You want to stay right there and you got blinders on, and I don't want to hear what anybody else says. You just want to stay there. You don't see the big picture. So we need to let go of that judgment and that. And one of the biggest tools, I would say, is daily meditation and treatment. Do your daily meditation and your treatment so that you can be who you want to be. So you set that intention so that you can move forward in your life and express it. Not only can you be peace, you can express peace in everything that you do. You can look around you and say, have I created a peaceful surrounding? Am I dressed in such a way that it brings my body peace? Am I feeding my body well so that it's at peace rather than fighting itself in that? So meditation is extremely important. And what I'd like to do is end with a quote from Entering the Castle by Carolyn Mays. And it says, how do I know if my soul's talking to me or it's my imagination? Many people ask. Poetry can touch your soul. A sunset, a warm breeze can suffuse you with profound sensations of love and serenity that make you feel as if you're hovering above the smallness of your life, at one with the greater being. From this spiritual attitude, you have a greater perspective on your problems and stresses. At least for the moment, your faith in God is absolute. But within minutes, your mind once again asserts itself, and you are unable to sustain that state of consciousness, no matter how much you want to. But the indelible imprint of that single moment encounter of the divine remains. No other precious memory can compare, and it is so powerful you long to return to it. So return to it, to the peace. And if you'll please join me for a spiritual mind treatment. Oh, I am filled with peace, surrounded by peace. I am at peace. And I recognize that Spirit is peace. That in the midst of chaos of creating, there's that peaceful intelligence underlying all of creation. We see it in the creation of our universe. We see it in the creation of a baby. We see it in the creation of an idea. That at first it may seem chaotic, but then dissolves into order as we are quiet. And we allow that quiet, that peacefulness to come within. When I am in that place of peace, I am alive, really alive. When I'm in that place of peace, I am passionate, excited, exploding with new ideas. And I take those ideas and they transform me. They transform me and allow me to move in my life with conscious choice, allowing me to choose each moment to be the best that I can be, to be creative, to be loving, to be peace in all that I do. So I send this peace out from where I am right now into the universe, into the world, and I see peace. I dwell in it. I focus on it. And I notice that no matter what is happening, I can always choose peace as a way of dealing with it. I give thanks for the wonderful people that write books that remind me of this. I give thanks of places like this church that encourage the growth and allow me to delve into classes that help change my mind. I am so grateful for each person in this room, for you visualize what you want, and I am there with you. I give you my peace. I give you my peace. And it is good. And I know that each person is a spiritual being, is that peace from now to eternity. And together we say with a grateful heart, and so it is.